कट्टे पे चल के आज चारों धाम आए हैं मेरी चौखट पे चल के आज चारों धाम आए हैं बजाओ बोल स्वागत मेरे स्वागत में मेरे घर राम आए हैं कथा शबरी जैसे जुड़ गई मेरे कहानी से रोको दो चरण हाथों में पानी बहुत शहरों मेरे हे प्रभु के नाम आए बजाओ डोल स्वागत में मेरे घर राम आए हैं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे राम हरे 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 राम हरे राम हरे कृष्ण I'd like to introduce Sitayana Katha. He's one of our youth groups at the Bhaktivedanta Manor. He's a Sanskrit scholar and a managing director at HSBC Bank. He's held many corporate events in the city where his spiritual master, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, has been a keynote speaker. We both work in the city, actually, and every now and again I bump into him. And I always ask, what's new? And always intrigued to hear what his cultivation that he's been doing. Earlier this year, he took 50 of his colleagues to New Mayapur, which is amazing. A few weeks ago, I actually bumped into him on the train on the way to London, and he was telling me he's been studying the Sanskrit texts of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Who here has watched B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata from 3-4 decades ago on BBC? Yeah. So for most of us, that is our version of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. But he was telling me that there's so much more depth and breadth to these texts. So we're very lucky to be here today to hear this discourse in English. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sri Radharamana, my friend.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Haribol. 4, 4, 4, और क्या? गुजराती में?
4.
4. कुछ तो समझ में आए. Haribol, Haribol. Hare Krishna, Haribol. Okay, bit better? Yeah, you can hear?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for coming today. It's a Sunday and it's windy, it's so windy today, and yet you all came. I'm so grateful. I'm really excited to be continuing our Sitayana Katha today. And this actually is a very special month. So in the Gita, Krishna says, Masanam Margashirshoham, that amongst all of the 12 months, his favorite month is Margashirsh. And the favorite month of Shri Radha is Kartik. So we have Kartik and Margashirsh. Some nice sound effects, huh? No pacemakers? Fine, okay. So Margashirsh is a very special month. So in this month, where most of us will hopefully have some time off from work, a bit of break, this is a very important month to hear Katha and to hear pastimes of Lord Krishna. So please continue to make the most of this Margashirsh month. It is said that Lord Krishna, he descends in a very merciful form throughout the entire month. And every activity that is done is multiplied by millions and millions of times. And today actually is the Navami Tithi, the 9th day of the dark fortnight, which is also an anniversary of the birth of Lord Ramchandra. So it's a very auspicious day to be celebrating the pastimes of the Lord. If you can't hear, please just raise your hands, okay? And they'll make adjustments. Thank you. So, Valmiki Ramayana. So as Prabhuji was mentioning, so many of us have seen Ramayana on TV. And when I was 12, 13, 11 years old, I think it was, it really changed my life. It changed the lives of so many people who are fond of Indian culture, Vedic culture, Lord Sri Ram. Nevertheless, if we go into the direct text of the Valmiki Ramayana, then some of our questions, some of our queries can be answered very clearly. So today, what I've done is I've extracted the conversations between Sita and Ram so that we can get an insight into actually what took place. Katha is also mentioned by Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. In chapter 10, verse number 9, some of you may remember that Krishna in the Gita says, Mad chitta, mad gata prana, bodhayanta parasparam. That my devotees, mad chitta, they are always absorbed in thinking of me. Mad gata prana, they are always absorbed in surrendering every activity to me. Bodhayanta, They discuss amongst their friends and devotees and peers, parasparam, always, kathayantash, by reciting my pastimes from the scriptures, nityam, always. There is a huge benefit by directly going to the scriptures and extracting the divine pastimes and words of the Lord, which is why Srila Prabhupada, he made a huge difference. Despite there being hundreds and hundreds of Gita translations, what Srila Prabhupada gave to the world was as it is. The Bhagavad Gita directly from the text, which is why it has continued to change the lives of so many people. So finishing off this verse, Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Krishna says, Kathayantash chamam nityam. Those who hear katha, those who directly engage themselves in hearing my words from the scriptures, tushyanti, they experience a pleasure and ramanti and bliss that is not possible in any activity of this world. And attending in person is really important. Obviously, after COVID, the fact that we can attend virtually is absolutely amazing, right? So many people can continue to work, and we can still continue to engage with the temple. So attending virtually is super excellent. But there is something unique about being in person. In the Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter, Krishna actually speaks about this. You may remember that in the 2nd chapter, Krishna says, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledyantyaapo, na shoshyati marutaha. He says that spiritual energy is not subjected to any material instrument. This is a really important point to note. Material power and energy is not subjected by any material instrument. Nainam chindanti pavakaha. Spiritual energy is not subjected by electricity. Kledyantyaapo, water, and nashoshyati marutaha, and air. So what happens is, when we discuss spiritual topics, those who attend in person, they are able to experience the spiritual energy that is not possible to experience virtually, according to Bhagavad Gita. That is why the doors of the temples are still open for everyone to come and visit. Please be very conscious about this point, because there is something special about attending lectures, seeing the deity and the temple in person that gives it an edge compared to virtually. Or the virtually is super excellent. I'll just give one more example. Why do we take our shoes off when we come to the temple? It is not actually due to physical purity. The scriptures explain that the vibrations of the temple are so powerful that by removing our shoes from our feet, the energies of the temple start entering into our body, mind, and soul. And that is why at every step we get purified when you're walking around sacred places and the temples. It's so scientific. That is why actually we remove our shoes when we enter the mandir. There are so many more explanations, and that is why I'm so grateful that all of you have come in person. Thank you so very much. Valmiki Ramayana has been written by such an exalted sage who lived tens and thousands of years ago. Before we start to share these very difficult pastimes between Sita and Ram, namely the Agni Pariksha, and also being sent back to exile, and finally entering earth. Before we do so, I would like all of you to please put your hands together, and I would like you to recite a beautiful prayer to Maharishi Valmiki. Okay? And I'll translate this in a few moments. Everyone, please say with me. Om Gujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Vande Valmiki Kokilam. Thank you. Kujantam Rama Rameti. There is a bird, Kujantam, who is constantly saying Ram, Ram, Ram. He is singing Ram, Ram, Ram. Kujantam Rama Rameti. Maduram, in the most sweetest of voices, in the most sweetest of vibrations. Maduram, Maduraksharam, and in the most sweetest of syllables and words. Aruhya, this bird has traveled upon the tree of the Vedas, and it is reaching the pinnacle of the Vedic tree, Kavitam Shakam, by being the greatest poet that ever lived on earth. Such a bird who always sings with sweet notes and sweet sounds. In the name of Lord Ram, Vande Valmiki Kokhilam. Let us all offer our obeisances to Maharishi Valmiki. Maharishi Valmiki is a personality that was so dear to Sita and Ram that at a time when the entire planet rejected the internal energy of the Lord himself, only one person came forward to nourish, protect, and also worship the Lord's internal energy. This actually is the reality of earth. Souls who enter into earth, they are so rebellious that they even have the audacity to question, offend, and reject even the internal energy of the Lord. Draupadi, Shri Radharani, Lakshmi, Parvati, Durga, and Mother Sita. And Valmiki Rishi, he played such an important role in this, which is why it is so important that we think of Valmiki Rishi and we constantly offer our gratitude to him. Because if he had not written Ramayana, we would not know about these sacred pastimes. So let us begin today's katha from the point where Lord Ramchandra had defeated Ravan. 7 days and 7 nights was the battle between Lord Ram and Ravan. There was a point where Indrajit, Meghnad, the son of Ravan, he had massacred the entire army of Lord Ram. And when Ram and Lakshman together were in a duel with Indrajit, Indrajit was laughing. He was so happy to see such two weak individuals fighting him. This is actually how Indrajit felt when he was faced with Lord Ram and Lakshman. In fact, after Lord Ram goes back to Ayodhya and he has his first assembly, he asks all of the rishis, tell me about Indrajit. Ravan, he wasn't a problem. Indrajit, he caused a huge problem to me. So please explain to me about the power of Indrajit. Because what had happened was Indrajit had learnt an art of warfare that nobody knew in the entire 3 worlds. Indrajit was able to become invisible. And when he became invisible, Lord Ram and Lakshman had no idea how to engage in a battle with Indrajit. And that is when Indrajit, seeing that Ram and Lakshman are completely bewildered, Indrajit then sent the Nagpash. And when he sent the Nagpash, these huge serpents came and they bit every part of the bodies of Ram and Lakshman. And do you know what happened? According to the Valmiki Ramayana, Ram and Lakshman died. It's actually what happened in the Valmiki Ramayana. Sushena, Hanuman, Angad, Sugriva, Vibhishan, they started checking the vitals of Lord Ram and Lakshman. There was no sign of life. They were completely bewildered. They could not believe that Indrajit, the son of Ravan, has come and annihilated Lakshman and Ram. And that is when the beautiful moment appeared, when Garuda came from the spiritual planets. And as you know, Garuda and serpents, they don't go on too well. So Garuda came and he freed Ram and Lakshman from the poison of the Nagpash. And that's how Ram Lakshman gained consciousness. In fact, Ram woke up, Lakshman still remained. And there's a long story about that. Ramayana is so beautiful, I keep deviating. Can I go back to the original story? I'll come back to that another time. So, Ram had conquered Indrajit and Ravan. And then he said to Vibhishan, Vibhishan, I have taken a vow never to enter any city or capital while I'm in exile. So Lakshmana, you go to the capital of Lanka and you perform the coronation of Vibhishan as the next king of Lanka. Lord Ram, he sat in the battlefield, waiting day after day for the ceremonies and the worship of the coronation of Vibhishan as king of Lanka to be completed. After many days had transpired, then Lord Ram finally spoke to Hanuman the words which everybody had been waiting for. And he said to Hanuman, Priyam etadi akyahi vedayastvam harishwaraha pratigrihya sutan sandesham uparvati tum arhasi. Lord Ram said to Hanuman, please convey the news of my victory to Sita and inquire about her welfare. O Lord of the Vanaras, thereafter, please return with any message back from Sita. Days had gone by and there was no message from Lord Ram to Sita, and the first person who he had chosen to pass a message on that Lord Ram has gained victory was Hanuman. Hanuman, without even acknowledging the point, he immediately jumped from the battlefield to Ashoka Vatika. In Ashoka Vatika, when he saw Mother Sita sitting down, she was actually holding her knees and her hands to her chest. Every detail is explained in the Valmiki Ramayana. Hanuman gave the news how Lord Ram had constructed the Adam's Bridge, the Rama Setu, the Setu Bandhan, and how after 7 days and 7 nights, Lord Ram had conquered and become victorious against Ravan and all of his entourage. Sita, when she heard this news, she became motionless. There was actually no response. It was completely quiet. And Hanuman, he himself got confused. Is Sita happy? Is Sita sad? Why is Sita not responding? Quite some time had transpired. And then Hanuman said, Sita, Mother Sita, is anything wrong? Did you understand what I've told you? Lord Ram is here and he is now victorious. Sita then shook her head and she responded to Hanuman. She said, Praharsha vashamapannam nirvaksyami ksharantaram. So, oh Hanuman, my words are choked and suppressed by my tears. That was her response to Hanuman. And she said, hearing this loving news of my husband's victory, I just became stunned. Because this lady has been waiting for tens and thousands of years for this news of the defeat of Ravan. Because the person who was hearing the news of the victory of Lord Ram is someone very special. And it is not just Mother Sita. We'll come to understand who this person is in a few moments later. Sita then said, please tell Lord Ram that I would like to be united with Lord Ram immediately. Hanuman went back, told Lord Ram the news, and Lord Ram, Valmiki describes, if you put a finger on your body, there was only this much gap on Lord Ram's body where there was no wound. His entire body, which was blue, had turned red from his own blood. So Lord Ram, he cleansed his body from his own blood by shedding tears. When Lord Ram had finished shedding tears, he then sat in meditation. And when he sat in meditation, quite some time had transpired. This was a very awkward moment, because this is meant to be moments of joy. But for some reason, the clouds that had manifested during the battle of Ravan and Ram suddenly reappeared. Why have the skies become dark? Why is there sannata? Why is there absolute silence? Where is the joy and the happiness? And when Lord Ram sat in meditation, something extraordinary happened. It is said, Dhirgama binnaha swasya. Lord Ram, he started to become angry. And he started staring at the floor. And he started hissing like a serpent while staring at the floor. Hanuman was completely bewildered again. Every part of the Agni Pariksha is a total confusion. In Lord Ram's voice, as deep as the clouds, in Lord Ram's voice, as deep as the clouds, he then said to Vibhishan, "Go and quickly bring Sita here. But there's a condition. Ask her to bathe, put on the sacred paste and ornaments." Vibhishan had no idea what this is. Vibhishan became afraid, in fact. And he immediately went to Ashoka Vatika and he said to Sita, "Please bathe, please wear some sacred paste and ornaments and come to Lord Ram." Now Sita done something which was quite ironic. She actually said to Vibhishan, "Asnatva drashtum ichchami," without bathing, drashtum ichchami, मेरी इच्छा है कि मैं स्वयं भगवान श्री रामचंद्र के सामने प्रकट हो जाऊं. It is my desire that I come in front of Lord Ram without bathing. This is unheard of. Since when did Sita or Lakshman have the practice of rejecting Lord Ram's views? There was something not right over here. Then Vibhishan said that I don't think that's a good idea. If Ram says bathe, you bathe. Now you remember in part 1, who had given sacred paste and ornaments to Sita? Anyone remember? Anasuya. Lord Ram, he entered meditation. He became hissing like a serpent, staring at the floor, because his mind wasn't on the Sita in Lanka. His mind was on the Sita before Ravan had kidnapped her. He remembered that my Sita was bestowed with ornaments and sacred paste given by Anasuya. I want to see my Sita. The Sita in Ashoka Vatika, she agreed, she bathed, and whatever ornaments and paste were given by Vibhishan, she placed on, and then Vibhishan sat Mother Sita in the palanquin. The Rakshas Sena, they all created a procession and an entourage went forward from Ashoka Vatika to where Lord Ram was sitting in meditation, looking very grave in the center of the battlefield. The Rakshas Sena were playing instruments. You can try, Prabhuji, you can try to blend this flute. You can help him. Yeah. They're trying to play some music in the background. It's because you can play it so that it's in the background. Yeah. Okay. Just help. So when the palanquin had come into the battlefield where Lord Ram was sitting, Lord Ram, he didn't open his eyes. He stayed in meditation. Again, some people were very happy and joyous. Lord Ram wasn't happy and joyous. And then Vibhishan, he said to Mother Sita, stay in the palanquin. Let me go and inform Lord Ram that you have arrived. Vibhishan went to Lord Ram and told him that Sita has arrived. Lord Ram, at that point, hearing of Sita's arrival, who had lived for a very long time in Lanka, he immediately, simultaneously experienced three things: anger, delight, and misery. Rosham, Harsham, Chadainyam cha. Why did Lord Ram experience anger, delight, and misery when Vibhishan had come and gave him this good news that Sita has arrived? You understand there is something not so correct, not so right going on. Why is Lord Ram angry? And then Lord Ram, he opened his eyes and he said, it's better, thank you. Lord Ram opened his eyes and he said to Vibhishan in a very grave voice, bring Sita to me from the palanquin. But there is a condition. Padbhyameva. You tell Sita, leave the palanquin and walk barefoot from the palanquin to me. Since when did the wife of Lord Ram walk barefoot? Never happened. That's why the palanquin was there. Vibhishan was completely confused. I'm going to go and ask Mother Sita to exit the palanquin and walk barefoot. That itself is a parad. But what can I do? Lord Ram has asked, I have to follow. At that point, Vibhishan, in his haste, he asked the Vanaras, make space. He told the Rakshas Sena, tell the Vanaras and the Rikshas, the bears and the monkeys, please make space because Sita is about to enter by foot. The moment Lord Ram saw that Vibhishan had asked for the Vanaras and for the Rikshas to make space, Lord Ram became extremely angry. He became so angry that he shouted at Vibhishan, the person who had left his brother to help Lord Ram defeat Ravan and be reunited with Sita. Lord Ram shouted at him. Lord Ram shouted and said, Kimartham mam anadritya. Who are you to insult me? Can you believe? See, sometimes God can be a figment of our imagination. But when you read the Shastras, you get to understand that he actually has his own personality and character. And then we can then be better aligned. Ram said to Vibhishan, Anadrityam, who are you to insult me? Vibhishan, I've given my whole life to you. I don't mean to insult you. And then Ram said, these monkeys and these bears, Swajano Mama, they're my own people. They're so dear to me. Vibhishan was thinking, yeah, but so is Sita. But Ram didn't mention that. Ram said, the bears and the monkeys are so dear to me, don't touch them. Don't ask them to move. Leave them where they are. It is because of them I am here. Vibhishan couldn't even say sorry. He just got accused of insulting the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person. So Vibhishan just put his head down and then he went and told Sita, you need to come by foot. Lord Ram is calling you. Hanuman, Lakshman, Angad, all of Lord Ram's associates, they became very nervous because they hadn't seen Lord Ram, or they hadn't expected Lord Ram to be like this after defeating Ravan. I'm sure all of you feel the same way. After Ravan has been defeated, you can imagine that there was only happiness. Actually, there was no happiness. The dark clouds had returned. And Lord Ram is accusing people of insulting him. That was the atmosphere at that time. Nobody spoke to Lord Ram. No one congratulated Lord Ram. Everyone just remained silent, waiting to see what is next. And then Sita, she left the palanquin, and as she walked towards Lord Ram, Vismaya cha praharsascha sneha cha patidevata, Sita of Ashokavatika, she also had 3 emotional feelings simultaneously as she fixed her eyes upon Lord Ram. Out of her surprise, out of her looks, she was surprised to see Lord Ram, she was feeling joy, and she was feeling a lot of love. Why was she surprised? Because, as you heard in part 1, when Lord Ram understood that Ravan's about to come to kidnap Sita, Lord Ram asked Sita to enter into Agni. And for 1 year, Sita, she stayed in Kailash, associating with Lord Shiva and Parvati for 1 year. And out of the fire came the daughter of Maharishi Kushadwaj, who is the granddaughter of Maharishi Brihaspati. Brihaspati, who is the Brahmin, the priest of all of the celestials and devatas. His granddaughter, Brahmarishi Kanya Shri Vedavati. In the Vedic culture, we also have females who are Brahmarishis. Brahmarishis like Vashishta, Atri, Valmiki, Kashyapa, Shandilya, Gautama, Garga. We also have female Brahmarishis. In fact, when you attend a Hindu wedding ceremony, those wedding vows have been spoken by a female Rishi. Her name is Rishika Surya, the daughter of Surya. All of the vows of the marriage ceremony have been spoken by Rishika Surya. And those are the vows that are taken in the Vivaha Sanskar. You know the story that Vedavati, she was born when Maharishi Kushadwaj was reciting the Vedas. When he was reciting the Vedas, the words of the Vedas, they came together and poof, Vedavati, a baby girl, was born. And therefore, he named his daughter Vedavati, the female baby who has been born from the recitation of Veda mantras. And Maharishi Kushadwaj said, who can marry the personification of the Vedas apart from Lord Shri Vishnu? And that's why Vedavati engaged in thousands of years of tapasya, praying to be the wife of Lord Vishnu. And what happened? Ravan came to Himalayas and he saw this beautiful, extraordinary lady sitting in meditation in her full youth, and he became attracted to her. And there's quite a large conversation that took place. But essentially, when Ravan was told that Vedavati is meditating to become the wife of Lord Vishnu, Ravan said, who is Vishnu? I'm better than Vishnu. Do you know? All of Vishnu's devatas are in my kitchen making my bhoga, right? And they also offer it to me. I have Rahu and Ketu looking after my horses. I have Indra and Chandra cleaning my bathroom. This is Vishnu's devatas. Everyone is working for me. These are devata maids. Devata maids. Who is Vishnu? Marry me. Come to me. And Vedavati, she closed the ear and said, Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. Please don't speak such words. And Ravan, he used his right hand and he grabbed the hair of Vedavati. And Vedavati, this is actually what is written. Her right hand from her wrist transformed into a sword. Can you believe? Yeah, Hollywood sometimes borrows ideas. Yahan se, from here. Her right hand transformed into a sword, and she cut the hair that Ravan had held in his hand. And she said, you touched my hair? How can I now become the wife of Lord Vishnu? you have just contaminated me. Keep the hair. And then Vedavati realized that the hair was part of her body. And Vedavati said, how can I now offer myself as the wife of Lord Vishnu? You have in fact contaminated my entire form. And then she manifested Agni and she committed suicide in fire. And she said, I can't curse you because my tap will become kshina. It will become finished. Therefore, at least I will say the following words. I will come again from the very same fire where I committed suicide, and I'll be the cause of your destruction. This was the Vedavati that had manifested. Ravan, in the Valmiki Ramayana, he's actually described as a particular word which I don't think I should mention because of the families who are here. But I would just try to just give one or two examples very quickly. Ravan, as I mentioned in part 1, he became infatuated with Rambha, who was the daughter-in-law of his brother, Kuber. And Ravan actually raped Rambha. And then he decided to steal the wives of hundreds and thousands of Yakshas, Danavas, Manushyas, Nagas and Gandharvas. Ravan was continuously kidnapping and stealing millions and millions of wives. This is mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana. In fact, Ravan, he also once obstructed the path of another Apsara who maybe you haven't heard of. Her name was Punjikastala. Punjikastala, she was on the way to meet Lord Brahma in Brahmalok, and Ravan just grabbed her and molested her. And when Punjikastala approached Lord Brahma, Brahma was the one who cursed Ravan, that if you are ever to force yourself upon a female, your heads will split in 100 pieces. Simultaneously, when Ramba had reported how Ravan had also abused her, it was her husband, Nalakuber, who also cursed Ravan in a similar way, but he said your head will split in 7 pieces. So Ravan was actually a really, really terrible, sinful person. And this is how Valmiki Ramayana describes him. Vedavati, when she saw Lord Ramchandra, she was surprised because she had manifested after Ram left the cottage to go and chase Marich. And she was then abducted. This was the first time that after thousands of years, she is coming to see Lord Sri Vishnu, Lord Sri Ram. Her desire of marrying Lord Ram is about to be manifested. This is why she was feeling so much love, at the same time joyous and also surprised to see how Ram was not looking so happy. As Sita approached Lord Ram did not open his eyes. He remained in his meditation, and he said to Sita, I have subdued your enemy of thousands of years who carried you away in my absence. At that point, Sita began to cry. She began to remember how she was once Vedavati and how Ravan had come and molested her. And now finally, Vedavati is now back. Her first benediction of destroying Ravan has been fulfilled. Her next benediction of being married to Lord Sri Vishnu is about to take place. But Ram is reminding Sita of what happened in the past. Sita then began to cry. Valmiki Rishi says, her eyes became vast like deers. In her huge eyes, she began to cry. And then Lord Ram, the yogis in whose heart Lord Ram eternally resides, Valmiki Rishi describes, Babuva Hridayam Dvida. Lord Ram's heart cracked into 2 pieces. Try to understand. the reality of the Agni Pariksha. It's beyond my comprehension. Lord Ram's heart cracked into two pieces. This person for whom I waged war 7 days and 7 nights is not my Sita. This is a person who wishes to marry me, but I have only given my heart to Janak's daughter Sita. Nevertheless, if I can call her Vedavati Sita for clarification, Vedavati Sita, she was thinking, I am Sita. She was actually thinking, this is my character. I am the one who is daughter of Maharaj Janak. I am the one who was kidnapped. I am the one for whom Lord Ramchandra has returned, having defeated Ravan. And I'm now about to align and become Lord Ram's wife eternally. But Lord Ram, his heart cracked in two pieces. Dvida means two, Dvi. Lord Ram was thinking, there is society, there is Vedavati, and there is my Sita. How do I satisfy all three? Because I am a king. Absolutely, many people say, Lord Ram is the ideal father, the son, the king, the husband. Please forgive me for saying this. I haven't found that anywhere in the scriptures. I have only found that Lord Ram was the ideal king. If you have any evidence of what I said earlier, please share with me. Because Lord Ramchandra, he demonstrated how the life of a leader is to sacrifice even one's personal possessions, personal attachment, even family, for the sake of leading society on the path of goodness. And you're going to hear later on how Lord Ram directly says, even Janak Atmaja, even the daughter of Sita, let alone Lakshman, Shatrughna, and Bharat, I will renounce everybody for the sake of being a righteous leader. And in Valmiki Ramayana, if you see from this perspective, it makes complete sense. Lord Ram came to show people how to be the right leader. Lord Ram, after his heart cracked into two pieces, he then said, I have done all of this to uphold my dharma and remove ignominy consequent of your being kidnapped. And then Lord Ram said, I also conquered Ravan to mitigate the insult that Ravan had done to me. These are the actual words that I've translated. And then Ram said those words that we are all very familiar with, maybe not the background history. Lord Ram said, Prapta Charitra Sandeha. I have doubts on the purity of your character. Prapta Charitra Sandeha. Ram said this. I have doubts on the purity of your character because you lived with Ravan for 1 year, whose history we all know now. You understand why Lord Ram said this? Sita was baffled. Her hopes of benediction number 2 were not really manifesting. Then Lord Ram, while his eyes were closed, he said something which I would like to share with all of you. He said, Deepo netra turasyeva pratikulasya me dridha. In the same way that a blind man who is sitting down and suddenly somebody brings a lamp and places it in front of his eyes. Similarly, you are disturbing me. You are like a lamp who is coming before a blind man. What is the point placing a lamp in front of a blind man? They can just see some effulgence, but they are blind. Why are you here? Why are you disturbing me? You are like worsening my eye disease. This is what Ram said. Ram was not interested in looking at any female apart from Vaidehi, Maithili, Janakatmaja, Mavasita. And Ram knew, this is not my Sita. That is why Ram said these words. Ram was thinking, how do I please society, Vedavati Sita, and recover my own Sita? Then Ram, out of his compassion, said to Vedavati Siva, Eta dasha disho bhadre. You can go anywhere in the 10 directions. In fact, if you would like to, you can marry Lakshmana, Bharat, Shatrughna, or Vibhishan. For obvious reasons, he didn't mention Hanuman. Right? Brahmachari ki jai. He said to Vedavati, you can marry any of those people. And then he said, finally, Yatheshtam gamayatam iti. From now onwards, I have nothing to do with you. You can go wherever you wish. Vedavati, Sita, then realized to try to become the internal energy of Krishna, Vishnu and Ram, it's not going to happen. These are only reserved for Shri Radha, Lakshmi, Rukmini. Sometimes we may ask the Lord for a particular desire, but it doesn't mean that it will be fulfilled in the way that you expect. For those who engage in a loving, conjugal relationship with Lord Krishna, these are best done in separation, Vripalamba Seva. So Vedavati's second desire of being married to Lord Vishnu was actually fulfilled. She was known by the entire universe as the wife of Lord Ram for 1 year when she was in Ashok Vatika. Everyone knew that this person in Ashok Vatika is the wife of Lord Ram. For 1 year, Vedavati, Sita, was the wife of Lord Vishnu. This is how her second request was fulfilled by the Lord. But in physical reality, it's another thing. Lord Ram said, you can't come back with me. I want my Sita. Ananya Hridayam Tava. The person who has my heart completely, in every form and shape whatsoever. That is the Sita who I would like. Then Vedavati actually, Valmiki Rishi explains, like a plant torn by an elephant's trunk. That is how she felt, having heard the words of Lord Ramchandra. And then she became and she felt humiliated by Lord Ram. The actual Sanskrit word is Lajjayavan. She became humiliated hearing these words. Wiping her tears, Sita said, why are you addressing me as an ordinary lady and making me hear such harsh, painful words? I am not what you believe me to be. Please believe me. Svena charitraneva te shape. I take oath that my character is pure. It's untainted. I deserve, if not to be your wife, I deserve not to be humiliated. Can you see how the mood changed so quickly? Under the test of Lord Ram, she felt humiliated. We can learn a few lessons from this. And then she said, Yadi teham parikshita. If you would like to, you can test me. So actually, it was Sita, Vedavati, who said to Lord Ram, Yadi teham parikshita. Test me. Test my purity. Test me. Complete silence. Can you imagine how Hanuman, Lakshman, Sugriva, Angad, Sushena, how they were feeling, Vibhishan? This was the conversation between Ram and Sita. And then, in that silence, Sita then, unfortunately, Lakshman always gets the end of these conversations. In fact, there were 2 times only when Lakshman became angry with Lord Ram. Can you believe? Lakshman actually became angry with Lord Ram. And at this point, Sita then said to Lakshman, she said, Chitta me kuru Saumitre, O son of Sumitra, son of a lady who is now being humiliated by your own brother. That's how you steer things in Vedic culture, huh? Alright? Saumitre. She didn't say Lakshmana. Chitta me kuru Saumitre. Light a funeral pyre for me. Sita asked Lakshman to do this. Lakshman, he became angry with Ram. You see, sometimes we don't know about these things, but you can understand it from the book directly. Lord Ram, perfect drum roll. Okay. Lakshman turned to Lord Ram looking angry. And then Lord Ram did one of his sweet gestures. Okay. And Lakshman realized, it's okay. Something nice will happen. And then Lakshman carried out the order of Mother Sita. And with mantra, arani sticks, Lakshman lit the funeral pyre. And then Sita circumambulated Lord Ramchandra, bid him goodbye, and at that point asked the three directions, please listen to my words. Everybody, please join in with me. What did Sita say when Lakshman lit the funeral pyre? Please repeat with me. Yathame hridayam nityam napasarpati ragavat tatha lokasya sakshimam sarvata patu pavakaha. If my heart has never gone away from Ram, then Agni, a witness of all people, please protect me. Yathamam Shuddha Charitram Dushtam Janati Ragavat Tatha Lokasya Sakshimam Sarvata Patu Pavakaha. If my character as a wife is pure, despite Ram believing me to be tainted and contaminated, then, O Agni, a witness of all people, please protect me. Having circumambulated the sacred fire, Vedavati Sita took a right step into the fire and fell down just as an oblation of ghee is placed into the fire. Om Hiranyavaranam Harinim Suvarnarajadasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Maavaha Tamavaha Jatavedo Lakshmi Manapagaminim Yasyam Hiranyam Vindeyam Gamashvam Burushanaham Ashvapurvam Ratamadhyam Hastinara Prabhodinim Shriyam Devi Mupavvaye Shrirvam Devi Jushutam Kamshasmitam Hiranya Prakara Madram Jwalantim Triptam Darpayantim Padme Stitam Padmavarnam Tam Ihopavvaye Shriyam Chandram Prabhasam Yashasa Jwalantim Shriyam Loke Deva Jushtamudharam Tam Padmanimim Sharanamaham Prapadye Alakshmirmi Nashatam Tvambrinim Aditya Varane Tapasodi Jato Vanaspatista Vriksho Chabilvaha Yastvam Swaha Om Shri Sitayai Idham Namama. Shri Sita Mata Ki Jai. Just as an oblation is offered in sacred fire, Vedavati Sita gave her life to Lord Ram. Lord Ramchandra, he remained silent throughout this entire ordeal. At that point, Lord Ram became finally joyous. And from his joy, tears started flowing from his eyes. At that point, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Indra, Varuna, Marut, Agni, all of the devatas came out of the kitchen, of the Rasoyagar, of the bathroom. Haribol, we are free, you know. They all came out of their respective homes of Ravan, and they said to Lord Ram, Ram, you are the supreme God. I think we've had enough. Why don't you now manifest your true understanding? Surya Chandrama Saudrisho. Your eyes, the moon and the sun are your eyes. Ante Chado Chamadhyecha. You are the beginning, the middle and the end of all creation. Why don't you now appear as God, not neglecting Sita? Ram said, fair enough, but guess what? Atmanam Manusham Manye. I'm just a human. I'm just Manusham. I'm just a person. Ramam, my name is Ram. Dasharath Atmajam. I'm the son of Dasharath. We are all humans. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm no God. I'm not the middle, the end, and the beginning. I'm just human. Ram said this because that is what everybody thought of him. Then Ram said to Brahma, why don't you tell me who I am? Why don't you tell me where I have come from? And then Lord Brahma, he said to Lord Ram, this is a very important sentence because it explains to you the supremacy of Lord Krishna. Brahma said to Lord Ram, maybe you could repeat to me. Brahma said to Lord Ram, Krishnash Jaiva Brihat Balaha. Lord Ram, you are Krishna Brihat Balaha, the most powerful, supreme God. You are Krishna, Krishna's Jaiva. So Lord Ram is Krishna himself, not actually Lord Vishnu. Some people ask, Krishna appeared in Dwapur, his name is not there before. Valmiki Ramayana, Valmiki is saying, you are Krishna. He says, Tvam Omkaraha Parat Paraha, you are the syllable Om. He says, Sita Lakshmi Bhavan. Sita is Lakshmi and Deva Krishna Prajapatihi. You are the Lord of everyone, Krishna. You are Krishna, Lord Ram. You have come from Vaikuntha to destroy Ravan. At that point, Agni Dev manifested great effulgence of the fire. The fire that was becoming extinguished with the body of Sita and Vedavati had become ablazed again. And from the beautiful blazing fire, suddenly sparkles came out. And the fire looked like a beautiful Agni Hotra Karya that had just been lit by the Brahmanas. And then at that point, the most beautiful event in the Agni Pariksha manifested. Taruna Ditya Sankhasham Tapta Kanchana Bhushanam Raktam Bharadharam Balam Nila Kunchitam Hurdajam. At that point, from the blazing fire, resembling the newly risen sun, wearing red cloth, adorned with the ornaments and the paste that Mother Anusuya had given to Sita before they went to Dandakaranya, with black curling hair and beautiful large blue eyes. Sita, the daughter of Maharaj Janak, came on the lap of Agni Dev, manifested from the sacred fire. Jai Shri Vaidehi Mata Ki Jai! And at that point, Agni then spoke. Dado Ramaya Vedehi. Agni then gave Sita back to Lord Ram. And why did Agni take Sita and give back Sita? In the Hindu wedding ceremony, in the Vedic Vahasanskar, there is a very beautiful vow which has taken place. I'll just share with you. It says, Somo dadad Gandharvaya, Gandharvo dadad Agnaye. Every female in the Vedic culture is a very special entity. Okay, sorry guys, okay? This is for the females now. When every female takes birth on earth, from birth until the toddler years, Somo, Dadad, Lord Shiva, he personally looks after every female on this earth. Somo, Dadad, Gandharvaya. This is a verse from the Rig Veda, by the way. Okay? From Rig Veda, this is a verse which is used in the wedding ceremony. Somo, Dadad, Gandharvaya. Then when the female becomes a teenager, Lord Shiva passes the responsibility of the female to Gandharva. And Gandharva then bestows every female with her beauty during her teenage years. Then during this time, Somo dadad Gandharvaya, Gandharvo dadad Agnaye. Then Gandharva hands the responsibility of every female to Agni. And Agni's main job is to protect the female so that on the wedding ceremony, he is lit and then he hands the female who is looked after into the hands of the bridegroom. That is why we actually light Agni in a wedding ceremony. That is why, because Agni Dadat Gandharva, because Agni gave Sita to Lord Ram, therefore, for safekeeping, she went back to Agni. And Agni is now giving Sita back to Lord Ram. This is why actually the Agni is lit in the wedding ceremony, because he is the personality who protects every female being precious until the day of the marriage, where Agni manifests to hand over the female to the bridegroom. And then Agni, having handed over Sita to Lord Ram became delighted, and he became so elated and happy that he said that actually, I know Sita was always pure. He says, Ananya Hridayam Sita Matchitta Parirakshanim. As the oceans cannot cross beyond the banks, Saravan could never approach Sita. Sita is mine. As the rays of the sun belong to the sun, Ananya hi maya Sita Bhaskarasya Prabhayata. In the same way that the rays of the sun belong to the sun, Sita is always mine. But for the sake of public ignominy, shame, I had to endure these moments. In the eyes of the public, Sita became purified by proving her chastity. In the eyes of Lord Ram, Vedavati's 2 boons were fulfilled. She entered back into Agni and waiting for her next birth, which we'll talk about later. And Lord Ram retrieved his wife, Sita, back from Agni. Lord Shiva appeared, glorified Lord Ram. He brought Dasharath with him. Do you know why Lord Shiva brought Dasharath with him? Because Lord Shiva had done something slightly wrong. In the moment when Lord Ramchandra was full of anger, when he had just defeated Ravan had just fallen on the floor, and his life there was just about to leave him, Madhvacharya explains that Lord Shiva appeared on the battlefield, and he said to Lord Ram, "Who do you think you are, disregarding my boons? Lord Shiva is my devotee. I gave him a boon that he would never die. He would always be protected. Who do you, Ram, think you are, disregarding my boons? My boons, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Agni, the Devatas, only work when God honors them. But you, for the first time, are discarding my boons I gave to Lord Shiva, I gave to Ravan." Then Lord Shiva said, "I want to fight you." That's what happened after Ravan got defeated. They don't show this in the films because it's a little bit controversial. Lord Shiva came. Now Lord Ram, he was not in the mood of having another 7-day fight. He was so upset. Ram was so upset that I have just defeated Ravan and now you're coming asking me for another fight? Ram did something which he has never done before. All he done was he grabbed his bow he pulled the string and the entire earth started shaking. And Lord Shiva, he fell onto the floor, realized this is not the right time to be playing with Lord Ram, and Lord Shiva just vanished. And then Lord Shiva now came back with Maharaj Dashrath, so Lord Ram forgets about what happened a few days ago. Okay? And Dashrath Maharaj, he saw Lakshman, Ram. He said to Lakshmana, for having served Sita and Lord Ram, you will become famous throughout all the three worlds forever. And Sita, please don't be upset with the words of Lord Ram. Sita was thinking, what words? I was in the fire. What are you talking about? But still, Dashrath said, please don't be sad with the words of Lord Ram. He spoke these words for your welfare. And then Dashrath Maharaj, again, my second apologies to the guys and the men here. Dashrath Maharaj then gave a benediction to all females who will ever be born in this world. Recite together? Let's do it together. Everyone please say, Su Dushkaram Idam Putri Tava Charitra Lakshanam Kritam Yatte Nyanarinam Yasho Hyabi Bhavishyati. He said to Vaidehi, my dear daughter, what you have performed to establish the purity of your character is very, very difficult. No one has ever attempted this in the past and even in the future. What you have done today has elevated the female race forever. They are the most important ever because of what you have shown, that females can remain powerful, pure, full of sense control, and have the ability to destroy any obstacle. Haribol! Haribol! So this is the blessing that Maharaj Dashrath gave to all females for all time. At that point, then the whole of Ayodhya, as you know, became so happy to receive Lord Ram and Sita back. Bajhao dhol swagat mein mere ghar Ram aaye hai. Everybody started to play musical instruments and honor the return of Sita and Ram. Please remember, every happiness has a bad ending, so watch this space.
Mangala Bhavana Mangala Hari Drava Sura Surata Ajira Bihari. Everyone, if you can sing from your hearts. You should have the presentation on the top. And my daughter is singing the chorus, so please sing along with her. I think the lines that are in bold, you can follow along. Bhadi shubhag kabar aayi, bar gaj gar gar aayi, papiyon ka vad karke aaye avad mein raghurayi, papiyon ka vad karke aaye avad mein raghurayi. सोने का रत्न होगा, तेरा भारत होगा, राम का अयोध्या में ऐसा स्वागत होगा, राम का अयोध्या में ऐसा स्वागत राम राम करता जा रे, राम राम करता जा रे, everyone follow, राम राम करता जा रे, राम राम जपता जा रे, कढ़िया अभिनंदन की, राघव के बंधन की, सारियों के मिट्टी जल में खुशबू है चंदन की, सारियों के मिट्टी जल में खुशबू है चंदन की, प्रभु राज संभालेंगे, फिर काज संभालेंगे, दूर देखल जिनसे उन्हें आज संभालेंगे, दूर देखल जिनसे उन्हें आज संभालेंगे, राम राम करता जा रे, राम राम करता जा रे, राम राम करता जा रे, राम राम जपता जा रे, हम दीप जलाएंगे, दिवाली मनाएंगे, अब कभी राम मेरे वनवास न जाएंगे, अब कभी राम मेरे वनवास न जाएंगे, तीन दुख के बीत गए, सब के मीट गए, हार गई मेरी रघुवंशी जीत गए, हार गई मेरी रघुवंशी जीत गए, सनातन धर्म सनातन राम, यहीं पे रहेंगे राम, हे बकी सकी किसी झूठे, सत्य है रघुनंदन का नाम, यदर्थी योगी संतों की, यदर्थी योगी संतों की, यहाँ पर राज करेंगे राम, यहाँ पर राज करेंगे राम, यहाँ पर राज करेंगे राम, राम राम करता जा रे, 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 राम राम करता जा रे,
श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय,
जय।
जय श्री सीता मैया की जय। Thank you so much. Sab theek? Okay. Right. So we have half an hour left. I'm sorry I took a bit long in the first part. I'll have to race through second part and third parts. So Ram and Sita, they spent just under 2 years together in great joy and happiness. In fact, Lord Ram had his own Ashoka forest in Ayodhya. And his Ashoka forest, it said that it was very similar to Indra's Nanda garden and Kuber's Chaitratha garden. It was a very beautiful garden. And Lord Ram and Sita, they spent especially the winter months together in the forest. And during this time, Lord Ram, he became delighted and he saw the signs of pregnancy manifested in Sita. He said, Apatyo labha vaidehi. And then he said to Sita that, please tell me, what desires of yours can I fulfill? Some who may have the same experiences. At that time, you ask your husbands, that you have to look after me and fulfill all of my wishes and desires, so that the pregnancy is a very happy pregnancy and it impacts the child very beautifully as well in terms of health and consciousness. So similarly, Lord Ram, he asked Sita the same question. What can I do to satisfy your desires? Sita, smiling a little, she said, Tapovanani punyani drashtumichhami Raghava. I wish to visit the Tapovan. I wish to visit the forest. Ganga Tiropavishtanam Rishinam Ugratejasam. On the banks of the holy Ganga, I would like to associate with the great rishis, Ugratejasam, who have huge effulgence owing to the devotion to Lord Ram and Lord Krishna. Sita, at the time of her pregnancy, had a desire to associate in a very pure atmosphere amongst the devotees of the Lord. And she was hinting by saying the word Ugra Tejasam, she was hinting towards Maharishi Valmiki. And then she said, even apeyeka ratril, even if I can stay one night in the Tapovan, my desires will be satisfied. Lord Ram said, believe me, this desire of yours will undoubtedly be fulfilled tomorrow. Shwaha, the very next day. Sita became excited. She left the room that she was in and she went to the outer apartments where her friends were associating together and they were having a nice time in discussing about their pastimes. And then Lord Ramchandra, he stayed in the very same room where he spoke to Mother Sita about this point, and in came his personal ministers. And these ministers, it's quite important we mention their names. They were experienced counselors of Ayodhya Nagari. Their names were Vijaya, Madhumatta, Kashyapa, Mangala, Kula, Surajin, Kaliya, Bhadra, Dantavakra, and Sumagada. Lord Ram, he asked his ministers, please tell me amusing stories. Lord Ram, he wanted to hear some amusing stories that are happening amongst his subjects in Ayodhya. And he said the words, Parihas Samanvita, Parihas, amusing, fun stories. At that time, Lord Ram's ministers began to relate to Lord Ram amusing stories. And then Lord Ram, he said to Bhadra, Bhadra, tell me specifically, how do my citizens talk about Sita, Bharat, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, and Mavakeikeyi? Because Bhadra, when kings deviate from dharma, they became objects of censor in homes and forests. At that time, Bhadra, the experienced minister of Lord Ram, he put his hands together and he said, all the citizens speak many good things about you and your conquest in destroying Dashagriva. And then Bhadra remained silent. Then Lord Ram, prompting and poking Bhadra further, he said to him, Bhadra, without hiding anything, Nirbhayam Vigatajvara, confidently and fearlessly, tell me all the good and the bad opinions about me, so that I can avoid the bad things and do the good things. Nakuryam Ashubhani. Then Bhadra, having received the constant prompts of Lord Ramchandra himself, as the king of Bhadra, he then said, I will tell you about all those unpleasant things spoken by people in courtyards, marketplaces, public roads, forests, and gardens. Okay, this is where the gossip happens. Okay, even those days, some things never change. Bhadra then began to explain to Lord Ram. They say Ram has accomplished wonderful things, including constructing a bridge over the ocean. Who can do that? We are so proud that our Ram did that. Secondly, Ram also liberated Ravan and made alliances with the Vanaras and the Rikshas, the monkeys and the bears. But there's always a kintu, isn't there? Parantu. Another kintu. Bhadra said, but despite Ravan placing Sita forcibly on his lap and keeping her in Ashoka forests of Lanka for a year, Ram brought her to his own city, and Sita Sambhogajam Sukham enjoys very happily in her company. How odd. And then Bhadra said, the citizens are saying, Asmakam apidareshu sahaniyam bhavishyati yatahi kurute raja prajastam anuvartate. They said, from now onwards, we will all also pardon any unrighteous conduct, either true or false, of our wives, for the subjects always follow the example of their kings. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the actual incident that changed history of Lord Ram and Sita forever. It was no Dobiwala. Okay? It doesn't exist. It was no other person. It doesn't exist. Bhadra, the employed minister of Lord Ram, was the person who shared the gossips going on in the gardens, forests and courtyards and public roads. There was nobody else. This is the advantage we get when we study the scriptures directly as it is. If you read the scriptures, Prabhuji, my dear godmother was asking me recently that some people, for example, believe that Lord Ram was a non-veg. Okay. All right? If you read the scriptures, it's very clear that anyone after receiving Upanayanam, and Lord Ram received it when he was 8 years old, 100% they have to follow the conduct of a Dvija, which means, I have nothing against either side, but in this situation, which means to be a pure vegetarian. Okay? And then when Lord Ram entered exile, if you read in the Ayodhya Aranyakand, Lord Ram says that I will only eat fruits, roots, because I'm a vegetarian. There's no question of living in the forest and eating anything else. So if you read the scriptures, it's all very, very clear how questions can be answered directly. In this situation, it was Bhadra who shared these points. And then Lord Ram had the choice on how to respond. And Lord Ram then became very sad. And he said to his ministers, Sarvan katham etad vadantu mam? Do people really speak about me like this? It's actually what he said. Katham, is this really true? That people speak about me like this? That's the state of rebellious souls in this world. Even God, kisi ko nahi choda. No one can escape the criticisms and the questioning by people, even God. And in Lord Ram, he asked the counselors to leave. He called upon Lakshman, Bharat and Shatrughna. They immediately came, and Lord Ram spoke his heart. He said, my dear brothers, my citizens are criticizing me. Even after everything I have is for them, they are criticizing me. I have been pierced to my very vitals by those accusations. Lord Ram continued, after killing Ravan, I also was anxious how to take Sita back home after she lived in the home of Ravan for a year. To secure my confidence, Agni, Vayu, Chandra, Surya all declared her innocence in the presence of the gods, the rishis, and Indra and Agni handed her back to me. How do I make these people understand? Antaratma chame veti sitam shuddha vishasvinim. My soul, my consciousness knows that Sita was always pure forever. And therefore, I returned to Ayodhya with her. But the citizens are not understanding. And my life as a leader and as a king is already 100% in their hands, in their service. And then Lord Ram spoke those immortal words that are very difficult for anyone else to speak. Lord Ram set this example because the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are fully interconnected. In fact, you'll read later on, by Madhvacharya explains that those people who performed little services in Ramayana will perform great services in the Mahabharata, and vice versa. There is a huge connection between the two. The example that Lord Ram established was actually to show the difference between him and Dhritarashtra, the difference between him and Duryodhana. Lord Ram said, Apavada Bhayat Bhita, Kim Punar Janagatmaja. He said, what to speak of the daughter of Maharaj Janak, Sita? I can even renounce my own life and even my brothers Bharat, Shatrughna and Lakshman in fear of Apavada, a bad reputation. Because then everything becomes compromised. You lose control as a genuine leader in the philosophy of Lord Ram. Then, Bichara Lakshman, again, at the end of the story, Ram said to Lakshmana, take Sita tomorrow in the very early part of the morning. And Gangayastu pare pare, Valmikestu mahatmanaha, Ashram divya sankhashas tamasam tiramashitaha. Take Sita to the other side of the banks of the Ganga. There is a river called Tamasa. At that river, on the banks of the river Tamasa, there is an ashram of my greatest devotee, Maharishi Valmiki. Sita was just telling me yesterday that she wants to associate with my devotees while she's pregnant. On the plea of fulfilling Sita's request, please drop her off at the ashram of Valmiki, where my children can be raised in an environment where nobody will ever speak such words, where they will always praise and worship and honor Sita. Society, my citizens, this planet is no place for a pure soul like Sita. Therefore, drop Sita off to Valmiki Rishi's ashram. Valmiki has spent thousands of years worshipping me. He will be doing some great activities for society. Let us give Valmiki Rishi the opportunity that no person ever receives, the association of my internal energy for year after year after year. Valmiki Rishi ke dhanya. Valmiki Rishi was greatly benedicted by having the association of Sita, and may Lord Ram's children be raised in such great, deep devotional association as with Valmiki Rishi and his disciples. This is how Lord Ram found the solution to the problems of this world. Lord Ram explained, when the world is against you, when friends, family, trusted, loved ones, those who are responsible, doubt you, criticize you, and stop being affectionate and loving, there's one place on this earth where you can gain satisfaction, peace, and that is the association of my devotees. That is why Lord Ram asked Lakshman, take Sita to the ashram of Valmiki. The very next morning, Lord Ramchandra, he waited. I need to finish at 1. Okay? I don't need to finish at 1. Oh, thank you. Haribol. That was close, huh? That was very close. I will not keep you too long, okay? Thank you. Lakshman woke up. Lord Ram said to Lakshman, do not question me. Don't say anything to me. Just do what I say. Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna left. The next morning, Lakshman asked Sumantra, please prepare the chariot. He went to Sita, said to Sita, Sita, Lord Ram was mentioning you want to go and see the devotees in the forest. Please come, I'll take you there today. She was so excited. She took ornaments, saris and cloth and dhotis to bestow to the rishis in the ashram. And Sita immediately mounted the chariot, and Lakshman then asked Sumantra, take us to the banks of the Ganga. In the evening, as they were going, Sita said to Lakshman, Nayanam me surat yadya. Lakshman, I can see inauspicious omens. My right eye and my right side of my body is trembling. Is Ram okay? Is Ayodhya okay? Is Mama Kaikeyi, Kaushalya, Sumitra, are they all okay? Why is my right eye and right body trembling? This is a bona fide inauspicious omen, okay? So if you have this, you can say it's definitely inauspicious. Then Lakshman kept silent. They arrived at the ashram of the river Gomati, and they spent the night in the ashram together with the rishis. The very next morning, Lakshman, as he woke up, he said to Sita Maya, now let us go to the banks of the Ganga. As they were going to the banks of the Ganga, it all got too much for Lakshman, and he began to shout and scream. I can't imitate. Okay. Okay. Lakshman began to shout and scream. And Sita said, why are you crying? I've reached the banks of the Ganga, for which I have long desired to visit. This is the time to rejoice. I know why you're crying. You're so used to worshipping and being with Lord Ram. It's been 2 days. I think you're missing him. Is that why? Lakshman, even I miss Ram. But look, the Ganga, the ashram of the rishis. Be happy. Lakshman just kept silent. And then they arrived at the banks of the Ganga. Lakshman wiped his tears. He asked the boatman, please ferry us across to the other side of the Ganga. Sumantra, you wait here with the chariot. Sita, Lakshman mounted the boat, and as the boat was going across the Ganga, Lakshman again was having relapses. And the moment Sita placed her right foot outside of the boat onto the other side of the Ganga, Lakshman again began crying. And Lakshman shouted, it has pierced my heart like an arrow that my very own brother, by making me instrumental of this action, has made me the object of criticism in this world forever and ever and ever. Shreyo hi maranam medhya mrityurva yat param bhavet. The death and pain consequent upon this action are better than what I am being engaged in. Rudantam pranjalim drishtva kangshanta mrityutatmanaha. Lakshman started to pray to Yamaraj. Oh Yamaraj, take my soul. Take my life. Kill me. I do not wish to live any longer. Lakshman began to weep, and he started praying for death. Yamaraj in the heavens was standing, and he froze. Lakshman was asking Yamaraj, take my life, kill me, I am praying for death. Why are you not taking me? Ram is making me the object of censor forever. This is the second time Lakshman became angry with Lord Ram. Can you believe this? You get to understand now the personality and the engagements between brothers. It is not always. Lakshman asked and begged for death. Yamraj didn't take him. And then Sita said, Lakshman, I don't understand anything. What is going on? Lakshman, in the name of the king, explain the cause of your sorrow. Lakshman then spoke. Lakshman said, I am unable to repeat what the assembly reported to Lord Ram. But Sita, they criticized you. They censored you. All I can say is that the king has renounced you due to being afraid of criticism from his citizens, despite the fact that your purity was proved before me, Ram, and everyone on the battlefield. Ram has commanded me to leave you near the ashram of Valmiki on the pretext of satisfying your desire. I can see Tathai Kila Dohridam. I can see that you are now Dohrida, pregnant. Sita, please don't be sad, because at the beautiful ashram of Valmiki, he has disciples and sages who constantly chant the name of Lord Ram. Valmiki is a friend of Maharaj Dashratha, your father-in-law, my father. Spend the days happily, keeping Ram always in your Manmana Bhava, mind. Sita, having heard these words, she fell down onto the earth. And at that point, Sita naturally became senseless for some time. With eyes full of tears, she said to the sky and the earth, Mami keyem tanur noonam srashta dukkhaya Lakshmana. Lakshman, Srashta, God, Dukkhaya, has created my body to suffer misery after misery. Oh Lakshman, the difference is, today, all of my afflictions are being manifested in one. Sita said, I was very happy in the forest because I was with Lord Ram. I could serve his lotus feet. How will I live alone without my family? Who will I express my sorrow to? Who should I say? What should I say to the tapasvis when they ask me, why has Ram renounced you? Actually, Lakshman, I have an idea. Let me just commit suicide in this Ganga. But I can't, because it shall bring the termination of my husband's royal race. Oh Lakshman, don't worry. Carry out these orders, but convey my message to Lord Ram. Offer my obeisances to mother-in-laws, asking about the welfare of my citizens, and then say to the king, you know that Sita is pure, ever devoted and engaged in your well-being. She knows it full well that afraid of a bad reputation, you have renounced her. But please be very attentive to what Sita asked Lakshman to convey. Sita said, tell Ram, Yachyate vachaniyam syat apavada samuttitaha. It is my duty to put a stop to your ill name and censure, for you are her paramagatihi, the object of her life. Furthermore, tell the king that righteousness always lives in protecting your citizens. Treat them as brothers, yatha bhratreshu, and acquire piety by protecting those who have criticized me, criticized you. It doesn't matter. Our duty is to protect our citizens at all time. Aham tunanu sochami. I am not sorry for myself. Swa shariram narashabha. Yathapavada pauranam tatheva Raghunandana, I am not sorry for myself. My greatest sorrow is that the people who I love, my citizens, have criticized me. It doesn't matter. The husband for me, Patir hi devata narya, is the God of my life. Patir bandhuhu, Patir guruhu. My husband is my friend and my guru. It is therefore proper to support my husband's well-being, even at the sacrifice of life. O Lakshmana, communicate all of this in my name to Ram. Now leave me and behold the signs of pregnancy present in my body. Lakshman heard Sita's message to Ram, but Lakshman said to Sita, Mother Sita, I have never seen your body. I have only seen Pado Drishto Tavanaga. O sinless lady, I have only seen your feet. I have never seen your body. I am not able to raise my eyes to see the signs of pregnancy that you are asking me to look at. Sita was thinking, it is the last time I'm going to see Lakshman, so at least Lakshman should see that I am pregnant with his nephews. Lakshman had never seen Sita. Do you remember the time? This is one of my favorite verses. Do you remember when Sita was on the Pushpa Viman and she threw her ornaments down? And Hanuman and Sugriva, they found the ornaments. They showed to Lord Ram, is this Sita ornaments? Lord Ram said to Lakshman, Lakshman, do you recognize these ornaments? Please respond with me. Lakshman's great, beautiful verse. He said, Naham janami keyure, Naham janami kundale, nupure bhijanami nityam charana vivandanat. Ram, I don't recognize her earrings or her bracelets. I recognize her toe rings, her nupure, because nityam charana vivandanat, my eyes have never risen above the feet of Sita. To this day, Lakshman said to Sita, I cannot look above. Sita then departed. Lakshman mounted the boat, and as he left for the first time on the horizon, Lakshman cast his eyes back and he just saw the outline of Sita as they both separated from a distance. Sita began once again crying and lamenting. At that point, some children were playing nearby, and they went and told Maharishi Valmiki that there is a lady who looks just like Lakshmi, and she is crying. Please go and help her. Valmiki perceived everything by virtue of his power and quickly went to the spot where Sita was weeping and crying. Then he said to Sita, having approached her, I know you are innocent and chaste, for I am conscious of all of the incidents in all of the three worlds. Our tapasvis, our ascetics will take care of you as a vatsam palayishyanti nityashaha, as a daughter. Please accept me as your father. I now adopt you as my daughter. In this way, Valmiki Rishi explains, Yatha swagriham abhyetya. Please accept my ashram as your own home. In this way, Maharishi Valmiki, who was able to perceive everything in the three worlds, he was able to enter the hearts and the minds of every character of the Ramayana, which is how he wrote 100 stories, 24,000 verses in the Ramayana. That was Maharishi Valmiki, the new father adopted of Sita. Sita then returned. Sita then went to Valmiki's ashram. He handed her over to the female tapasvis, who then looked after Sita as a daughter. And when Lakshman had returned to the chariot where Sumantra was waiting on the other sides of the banks of the Ganga, beside the river Gomati, he said to Sumantra, why has this happened? And as Sumantra explained, once upon a time, Sumantra was the charioteer of Dashrath. He said, I took Dashrath to the ashram of Vashishta. And at the ashram, Maharishi Durvasa was there. And Dashrath asked Maharishi Durvasa, please tell me about the future of Lord Ram. And then Maharishi Durvasa explained that many, many years ago, when Lord Vishnu was in battle with the Asuras, the wife of Maharishi Brigu gave shelter to the Asuras. And Lord Vishnu, having become upset with the wife of Maharishi Brigu, he used the Sudarshan Chakra and severed the head of Maharishi Brigu's wife. At that time, Maharishi Brigu cursed Lord Vishnu, saying, in the same way that you have cut off the head of my wife, you will be incarnated on earth and you will forever be separated from your wife. Therefore, Lakshman, don't be disappointed. Ram and Sita are purely fulfilling the curse of Maharishi Brigu. Many, many times Sita and Ram were separated, but they came back together at least 3 different occasions. But this time, the curse was fully fulfilled, and that is why Lord Ram separated from Sita. But there is another reason also why this was very important. Like we know in the Bhagavatam, there were many Asuras who Lord Krishna liberated. Similarly, in the Ramayana, there is a group of Asuras who are actually even more powerful than Ravan, and their names are Suranaka. Madhvacharya explains that there was a powerful group of Asuras by the name of the Suranaka, very similar to Surpanaka. And as you know, Surpanaka was the one who really got things going when she asked Ravan, you need to do this. The Suranakas were so powerful that they approached Lord Brahma and said to Lord Brahma, based on our tapasya, if you do not give us liberation while being evil, we will cause havoc across the 3 worlds forever, in all of the ages. Brahma had no choice but to give them the benediction. He said to the Suranakas, as long as you do not contemplate the separation of Rama and Ram, you will remain liberated in this life. The Suranakas, they appeared as the citizens of Ayodhya, and being bewildered by the pastimes of Sita and Ram, they criticized Rama, Sita, and criticized Ram. Madhvacharya in the Mahabharata Tatpara Nirnaya mentions, in order to send the Suranakas to hell forever, Sita and Ram agreed to separate. This is the second reason why Sita and Ram separated, to fulfill the curse of Maharishi Brigu and ensure that this group of Suranakas who are more powerful than Ravan go to hell forever. And this is the explanation that Madhvacharya mentions himself. Shall I be just 5 minutes? Yeah, okay. The birth of Lava Kush took place when Shatrughna came to Valmiki's ashram on the way to Mathura to defeat Lavanasur. Shatrughna was there when Sita Maya gave birth to Lava and Kush. Valmiki Rishi, for 12 years, he initiated and taught Lava Kush the Vedas, and then Valmiki Rishi decided that the first person to whom I will teach the Ramayana will be the sons of Lord Ram. So the first students of the Ramayana were Lava Kush. Valmiki Rishi, having taught Lava Kush the Ramayana, 12 years later, long story short, when Lord Ram had agreed to conduct the Ashwamedha Yajna, at that point, Valmiki Rishi was invited to come and participate in the Yajna. Valmiki Rishi told Lava Kush that there is a concept called Sankirtan. Sankirtan is where with instruments you sing the names of God. The first people to ever go on the streets to do Sankirtan was Lava Kush. Valmiki Rishi said, walk around Ayodhya, up to the gates of Lord Ram's palace, and on your veena sing the verses of the Ramayana. Lord Ram happened to have heard these 2 boys singing these beautiful bhajans, the verse of the Ramayana. Ram said to Lava Kush, please come in the evenings and recite this beautiful composition that you are singing on the streets. Love Kush, it's a very long story in just a few words. Love Kush then began to recite from beginning to end the Valmiki Ramayana in the assembly of the Ashwamedh Yajna. Day in, day out, Ram, thousands of his citizens, his brothers, Divanarsena, Vibhishan, everyone was there. And they sat to listen to Valmiki Ramayana, and then there was a part where Love Kush recited the story of the birth of the two sons of Lord Ram. Then Lord Ram said, "What is this? Who are these two children? I have no children. Who wrote this book? Who wrote this poem that you are reciting?" And then Love Kush said, "Our Guru is Maharishi Valmiki. He instructed us to recite this story of yours. Whatever is in here is the truth. This is all we know." Lord Ram was not satisfied. He said, "Go and ask your preceptor to come here tomorrow and testify that the words in the Valmiki Ramayana, that I have two sons, is true. How can I accept the words of anyone? Anyone can claim to be my sons and become the next heir to the throne. Ask Valmiki Rishi to come next day and testify. In fact, ask Sita to also come and testify. Because if what Maharishi Valmiki is saying is truthful, Sita needs to validate this. Because my citizens and I cannot accept anyone as the heirs to the throne of Ayodhya just because one book says so." Love Kush went back, told Maharishi Valmiki. Maharishi Valmiki explained to Sita, "It is your duty to carry out the orders of our king." The very next morning, tens and thousands of individuals came to witness the arrival of Sita back to Ayodhya. Maharishi Valmiki, he walked in the assembly in the middle path, approaching the Simhasan of Lord Ramchandra, and behind Maharishi Valmiki was Sita. Valmiki Rishi describes, in the same way that the Vedas follow the Lord, Sita was following Valmiki, approaching Lord Ram once again. At this point, Valmiki Rishi said, "Before Sita testifies to the truth that I have written in the Ramayana, O Ram, listen very carefully. These are the twin brothers. These twin brothers are your sons. Prachetasaham dashamaha. I am the 10th Pracheta. Putro Raghavanandana, my son Ram. I am the 10th son of the Prachetas. Far from speaking untruths, it does not even appear in my mind. I therefore know the truth that these twins are your sons. I have performed tapasya for many thousands of years. Ram, in the presence of everybody here, I take oath before you that if Sita is touched by any sin, I shall not reap the results of my devotional services that I have conducted for tens and thousands of years. Ram, I, Valmiki, the 10th Pracheta, have never committed a crime in my mind, body and speech. At that time, in Satyug, there was a very special wind. It's nothing like we get in the UK. All right? There is a celestial wind which used to blow on earth. The celestial wind of Satyug began to blow in the assembly of Ayodhya. At that time, Ram said to Maharishi Valmiki, "As the 10th Pracheta, I have no doubt in your words. But my citizens and my entourage, they will want Sita to testify herself, by which we can all accept Lavan Kush as Yuvraj of Ayodhya." Then Sita, with her head covered, hiding herself in herself. This is what Valmiki Ramayana explains. She then spoke the following words, by which nobody ever will question her again. Please respond with me. Yataham Raghava Dhanyam Manasapi Nachintaye Tatha me Madhavi Devi Vivaram Dhatum Arhati. Sita said, if I have never thought of any person in my mind but Ram, then may Goddess Earth grant me space in her womb. Manasa, Karmana, Vacha, Yatha, Ramam, Samarchaye, Tatha me Madhavi Devi, Vivaram, Dhatumarhati. If my mind, body and words, I have always honored Ram only, then may Goddess Earth grant me space in her womb. Yathaitat Satyam Uktam me Vedmi Ramat Param Nacha Tatha me Madhavi Devi Vivaram Dhatum Arhati. If everything that I have done in my life is righteous, if I have never ever committed any sin in my life, and that I have never ever known anyone but Ram, then may Goddess Earth grant me space in her womb. At that time, the earth began to shake. The center assembly of Ayodhya split into two. The hissing of serpents began. From the grounds of Ayodhya assembly, beautiful serpents arose. On the heads of the Nagas was a jeweled ornamental throne, upon which was seated the personification of purity, Bhumima, Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth. And she stretched her arms out in front of Sita. She embraced Sita and she pulled her towards her, and she sat her on the right-hand side of this beautiful throne. Sita then, looking down with a faint smile, started to look at the feet of Lord Ram, and then, Sita then, she entered, I'm very sorry. Sita then entered the earth with Bhumi Mata, and at that point, Lord Ram, he said to Mother Earth, this world doesn't know how to respect Sita. Therefore, take me with you. You can play the flute? You can play the flute? And then Lord Ram mentioned to Bhumi Mata that at this point, take me with you on this throne, because I have lived many years from Sita, but I cannot do any longer. And therefore you should take me with you on this throne. Bhumi Mata began to ignore Lord Ramchandra, and then what happened was Lord Ramchandra, he began to vent his anger, and he said to Bhumi Mata, why are you not listening to me? There is enough space on the throne for me as well. Take me. I was meant to be here for 10,000 years, but I don't wish to live another moment without Sita. And if you don't take me on this throne, then my beautiful lotus red eyes, for the first time ever, will become black. Ram will be standing in Ayodhya in the presence of all of his friends and family with black eyes. My black eyes will turn to coal. The coal in my eyes will become heated beyond the point of any form of Agni ever manifested. The coal in my eyes will drip tears on the floor of Ayodhya, and the entire earth shall perish forever. There will be no Dwapar Yuga, there will be no Kali Yuga, there will be no planet Earth. If you do not take me with you, I will make sure that Earth is devastated. There will be no planet Earth ever. And then Lord Ramchandra, while saying these words, he began to dilate his eyes, and everyone saw for the first time the black eyes of Lord Ramchandra. At that point, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva appeared. I'm very sorry, please forgive me. At that time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva appeared, and they said to Lord Ram, please remember yourself as Lord Krishna. Please have peace and tolerance. Your pastimes have not yet been wrapped up. Please, my Lord, do not destroy planet Earth. This is the time where Sita needs to go back to Mother Earth, having come from her. And this is the safest space for Sita. Nobody else will ever question or criticize her purity, because Mother Earth, who is the personification of righteousness, has now accepted Sita. Love Kush are your sons. You should make them the crown prince of Ayodhya. Valmiki Rishi in the Ramayana has written an extra section called the Uttarakhand. In the Uttarakhand, he has spoken all about your future. Please, Lord Ram, at this point, you should only focus and listen to the sounds of Valmiki Ramayana. If you hear the Valmiki Ramayana, you'll be satisfied hearing the pastimes of your devotees. The Rishis here also desire to hear your pastimes written by Maharishi Valmiki. Therefore, Lord Ram, please be peaceful and return to your controlled state. At that point, Lord Ramchandra became calm. He sat back on his throne. He bowed to Mother Earth. He took the dust from the feet of Sita that was left behind. And at that point, Lord Ramchandra then announced to the assembly that because my devotees wish to hear the Uttarakhand, my later pastimes that Valmiki Rishi has written in advance, therefore I will not fulfill my desire that I spoke of earlier. From tomorrow morning, everybody please assemble so we can hear my future that has been written in the Uttarakhand of the Valmiki Ramayana. Maharishi Valmiki then spent day in, day out with Love Kush reciting the Uttarakhand of the Valmiki Ramayana, by which Lord Ramchandra gained peace. Love Kush became the crown princes of Ayodhya. And Madhvacharya explains something really beautiful by which we can end today's katha. Madhvacharya explains, Drishti Marga Gama Pahaya Sastita, that after Mother Sita entered earth, she then appeared and lived with Lord Ram in an invisible form forever. Sita was unable to keep away from Lord Ram, so despite entering Mother Earth, she came back in an invisible form, and she lived every day with Lord Ram in Ayodhya in her invisible form. Jai Shri Ramachandra Bhagavan ki jai. Jai Shri Sita Maiya ki jai. Please forgive me. This is a very difficult part of the Ramayana, and I don't have the ability to explain this well enough. So I'm very sorry if I didn't do a good job. I hope you all enjoyed the Ramayana Katha. I think you require better people to give Ramayana Katha, people who can do this in a better way. But I've done my very best to share the intricate detail between Rama and Sita. And all I can say to you is that the Ramayana is a very, very powerful scripture, and it's something which continues in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, all those individuals that formed small services took larger services, and those that took larger services then took small services. For example, Lakshman became Balaram, Angad became Abhimanyu, Sugriva became Karna, and Bali became Arjun. And in this way, the Mahabharata is very deeply connected together. I'm really delighted to say that we won't have many sorrowful kathas going forward. We'll be doing a Mahabharata Katha in Bank Holiday of May. I invite all of you to come. It will be a very unique Katha where over 2 days we'll be spending directly speaking from Vyasa's Mahabharata. And the only commentator on the Mahabharata of 100,000 verses is Shripad Madhva Acharya. So we'll also be paraphrasing the commentary, the first ever commentary written on the Mahabharata in the words of Madhva Acharya called the Mahabharata Tatpara Nirnay. In the commentary of the Mahabharata, you'll be able to hear some of the very, very deep reasons as to how Draupadi manifested. Vedavati, having entered the sacred fire, she asked the Lord, I wish to be born again so I could continue on my services. And Vedavati came back from the fire as Draupadi. And as Draupadi, she became the very close associate of Lord Shri Krishna. And Draupadi helped to establish Dharma in the Mahabharata Katha, along with Bhima, Arjun, etc. And you'd find that people who worshipped Sita, like Trijata was the Rakshasi who honored and looked after Sita in Ashokavatika. She was benedicted to come back as the sister of Lord Shri Krishna, named Subhadra. And in this way, you're going to find a beautiful interlink between the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. So please do attend, if possible, during the bank holiday of May. I would like to thank our musicians here who have performed so well. Firstly, Sunit on the tabla, Prema Sikatan Prabhu on the flute, Vignesh Ji, who's actually from Lanka, Haribol! Haribol! As our main singer, and lovely Tanu Shri Radha, who sang so well. And of course, our dear friend Shamsun on the Kartas, and Pranavji, who also joined us in this Katha. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed. Please once again forgive me for not being able to correctly recite the end part of the Katha. I did my best, but I don't have such a strong heart. I'll come back stronger to recite such difficult Kathas. Please forgive me for my mistakes in this Katha, and thank you all so very, very much. I hope this Katha allows us to build a relationship further with Mother Sita here at Bhaktivedanta Manor, and I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you all so much. Jai Shri Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai. Jai Shri Sita Maiya ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nithai Gauda Paramanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Jai.
Jit, can you switch the sound off? Jit, cut the sound.